What up? What up? How you doing, everybody? What's good with everybody? I hope you guys are doing well. I am your host, Mr. TNTBS, CJ Jones. Have my co-host with me, Mr. Duane Stinson, and this is Elephant Exposed. What's up, D? What's good? What's good?
What's up, my brother? Feeling good tonight, brother. You see, I'm doing the robot.
I know. I saw that. I saw that. Okay. Oh, man, you have to excuse me, man. Um, I'm feeling good. My voice ain't doing too well right now. I guess it's just because um my son is in a camp right now. So we're outside, inside, outside, inside, AC heat. But anyway, so my voice is trying to, stay healthy, but I'm doing well. Physically, I cannot complain. However, I do have some observations that I would like to chop it up with my brother this evening, if you don't mind, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So much to talk about. Some things, no matter, it seems like no matter what we say or what we do as podcast host, as journalist, media journalist, no matter what our titles are, uh, casters like ourselves, we try to seek the truth, and we try to fact check all the sift through all the BS, if you will, for lack of a better phrase, to help better educate our viewers, and hopefully our viewers see that and they share said education about things.
Right.
And we won't always agree. Sometimes I know probably what we're going to bring up today is probably not going to sit well with people, but we got to expose that elephant anyway. Because so let's get into it. The first thing I really do want to touch on, though, is the biggest thing in that is going is being touched on by every media platform right now, is the turnover of the Roe versus Wade decision that came down from the Supreme Court. Wow. Oh, wow. Bruh. Now, granted, this is Elephant Exposed, and our speciality is to expose the elephants of injustices in law enforcement. But what ties into law enforcement is the justice system.
Right.
And when our justice system starts to crumble and be shaky and be questionable about the things that it has already presidented itself for, upholding law, and just because we don't agree with it, it's benefiting somebody some type of way.
Oh, yeah.
Now, by us being Christian men, let's break that down, because you hear a lot of back and forth. I don't want to say pushback, because this is a lot of back and forth, especially from believers, or quote unquote believers. And I put the air quotes up there when I say believers, y'all, because these believers are just believers by title. They are not actual believers. They are believers when it comes, I basically say, just to have something to hide behind, so they could say, "Oh, I'm a believer," or whatever. But my co-host Duane and I, we are actual believers. That means that we try to implement our teachings and different things like that in our lives. We
Right.
actually try to live by what we have been taught in the Bible and different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the Bible say, you will know who is real and who isn't real by their actions, by the fruit that they bear. Okay.
Mhm.
So if you watch how me and Mr. Stinson move, if you watch our lifestyle, you'll see that we are not just blowing smoke. We
Mhm.
don't sit off in judgment
No.
of people. What
Right.
you do is what you do. It is none of my business. I can care less as to how you live your life. Just don't try to sway me here,
Mhm.
because it's the same thing. It's basically what it all boils down to, my brother. It's mutual respect.
Right.
You've made up your mind to live your life a certain way. My hands are off. I have no problem with that.
Mhm.
That's why you have made up your own mind.
Mhm.
And a believer's job, if you will, is to share. Now, share is the key.
Mhm.
Share,
Right.
not pound
Mhm.
and attack and beat
Mhm.
people over the head with our beliefs.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because God does the convicting.
Exactly.
We plant seeds, you know.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? And the best way to because like they say, some people say the only Bible some people read is your life.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? So if it's better to be about it, if you're gonna talk about it, you got to be about
Be
it.
about it. And that's where that term came from.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it. Don't talk about it. Just be about it, because somebody will see you, and then
Mm-hmm.
they will be intrigued.
Right. They'll ask you. You won't have to.
Exactly.
They'll ask you.
Sometimes you ain't got to say nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's the best policy. But let's move on. So that's the difference, guys, between someone that's just going around claiming that there's something and then someone actually living it. Now, these people that are claiming, and they got this big old problem with women, having abortions and stuff. And listen, let me tell you something. No one person is the same. No one story is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. CJ and Duane, we don't have a heaven or hell to put you in.
Mm-hmm.
Government should never get mixed up with church. Church should never get mixed up in government. Okay.
We also don't have vaginas either.
Exactly. And that's the main thing. How
Mm-hmm.
can any man,
Mm-hmm.
tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her very own body? That's the first thing.
See, that's why I think a lot of believers, quote unquote believers, like you said, you get caught up in, well, when you get saved, when you're a Christian, your life is not your own. You live for God. Everybody's not a Christian though. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you.
God gives us free will. Once you decide to follow him, once you decide to be a believer or a follower of Christ, okay, that's me and you, or that's me and sisters in Christ, people that believe the way we believe. But that's not everybody.
Exactly.
And I'm not sitting here saying I'm not pro-life, of course, but it just feels sort of barbaric. It feels like almost Jim
It be,
Crow for them to, what I'm saying, for that decision to be made. Because the next thing you know, they're gonna be taking the voting away. You know what I'm saying? Because I would have never thought I saw the day when that was overturned. So
exactly.
now, when you start hearing about some of these voter laws they're trying to revoke, it's like, wait a minute, if they did that, you better make sure you're going to vote.
That's that can. That's that can of worms. And so you got to understand this right here. Now, granted, you and I, as males, we could just sit back and relax and just watch the show, because it's not going to make us any difference at all. So I want to hit this from all kinds of perspectives. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about it from a perspective of a man. Men can care less unless that law affects their wives, their daughters, their granddaughters, their nieces, things like that. So now let's talk about the haves and have-nots. Because I received a phone call this week from a very good friend of mine. And him and I, just like yourself, we click on a lot of levels. That's why he's my brother. He's my brother, and he was my brother in arms, and he's my brother, like for real, like in spirit. Okay. And I don't remember his spiritual walk or anything like that, but I do know that he has a lot of respect for me being a believer. And that's why we still flow. Okay. And the thing about it is that because we are all dads and because we all have daughters, that's why we're saying something. We're speaking up for our daughters, and especially for our little ones that don't have a voice yet, to be like, hold up, wait. This is where we need us as men to stand up for our daughters and say, hey, listen, whether I like it or not, and whether my daughter decide to take on my beliefs or not, or whatever the case may be, I cannot force my personal beliefs down her throat.
Right.
Okay. And it goes back to being an actual believer. So let's go back to an actual believer. I'm sorry. I don't mean to get preachy, but let's make sense out of this. An actual believer is not going to force you to do anything. They're not going to try to sell you on something. They ain't going to use a fear tactic. They're just going to give it to you the way that it was given to them, plain, simple, and smooth. Take whatever you can from it, live on, and like the Bible say, knock the dust off your feet if they don't accept you and move on. That's what a real believer does. Okay, but then you got these false people that's using this as a smoke screen, and it's going to lead into dictatorship. That's where it's going.
Well, see, a lot of people are just aligning themselves because, when it comes to certain things, it's a bipartisan term. It's like politically, it's a political thing. They're right. Like, well, because right now you can make a tree. You can say Republican, Trump, gun, NRA. You could say abortion. You know what I'm saying? It's just certain things just associated with certain people, and it's almost like people don't even think about it. It's like, oh no, that just goes with that. It doesn't matter if their daughter got raped, you know what I'm saying, and you want your daughter to carry a child from somebody that raped her, you know what I'm saying, for 9 months, and you say, well, it's easy. Why don't you just get a baby up for adoption?
You don't know what you will do until you are actually in that situation. Let me tell you something. Every time I even think about it, I just shake my head because I know what the word of God tells us as men of God. Boy, sometimes I even find myself being like, God, I don't know about that. And I'm just being straight up. And I've been knowing God all my life, like as me being a believer, like I was raised into this. And there's some things I'm just like, whoo, God, that's a tall order.
But this is where we can eliminate a lot of that. If we teach our kids the right way, we raise them up like the Bible say, train up a child in the way he should go. When he's older, he would not depart from it. If we do the work we're supposed to do, then we drastically decrease the likelihood that they're gonna have to make that decision. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. In other words, if you're gonna take away something, that something still that void still has to be filled with something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we fall away. You know, we gotta as believers, we put out, I'll say it from a secular point of view, because I get a lot of talk back when it comes to stuff like that. I get a lot of volley, and that's where they miss that point. So I was, I'm always told, oh, it's too many rules, it's too many no's. Well, okay, as you are getting to know the ways of the Lord, right, and following his commandments, he's not taking away anything. He's actually inputting things there. And it causes those other things that are not healthy for you to be filtered and flushed out. That's why
Mm-hmm.
you stay full.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you become full. And then people sit back and wonder, man, and when they see you have the same issues that they have, but they're stressing, you're not. You're going through something, they're about to die and float away from here. Or you go back and you share a story with them, and they're sitting back looking at you like you a walking miracle. I don't know what I would have done. And it's just like how Steve Harvey would say a whole lot of time. If it wasn't for my faith, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be here today. So
Mm-hmm.
I can sit and I can share this on my platform. If it wasn't for God being in my life, the personal relationship that I have with him, I wouldn't be here today,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But
Same
that's where
here.
I'm at. But I am not forcing anyone or influencing anyone. Just like I don't expect for anyone that don't believe to try to force me to not believe,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then we can take it parallel with our friends of the pronouns, because the very same thing that they are claiming that they don't want to have to suffer through and stuff like that, they're going at it so hard. They are actually trying to force themselves to be accepted. Just live your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's my response to my pronoun game. Live
Right.
your life.
Because I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you, this is a little
Good.
bit off subject, but like at my job now, they pushing the LBGTQ, they're pushing it really hard, like equality and stuff like that. And I was talking to somebody at work about it, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I should the workplace is not for me. I shouldn't even know who you sleep with.
Thank
I
you.
I shouldn't even we
I'm glad you
shouldn't be
said it.
discussing. We shouldn't be discussing. You shouldn't be putting signs up all over the company telling me giving me all kinds of statistics about how many gay people are discriminated against, how many gay people get harassed. What about what black people? You know what? I ain't even
Oh.
going,
No,
I
no,
ain't
no,
even
no.
open.
Because guess what? Maybe you might have noticed this little thing right here just off my shoulder. It says elephant exposed. That's why we here. So let's talk about it. Because matter of fact, I just had this same conversation with my 10-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a shame that I have to have a conversation like this with my 10-year-old son, because, like you said, it's being forced.
Mm-hmm.
It's being forced. Our children are coming out of their innocence at early ages, and it shouldn't have to be that way.
Right.
You know, let kids be kids. Let them just live in their innocence, because pretty soon they're gonna have to come out their innocence, and we'll teach them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But at 8, 9, 10 years old, I'm having to educate my son. This is what is out there. This is the world now. And I don't need for you to be confused, because your household, you see this,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a community of people, you know, they of the same sex, and they want to say they love each other, and they want to live like the traditional heterosexual male female couple, and they you know want to be whatever. But here's the thing: who you sleep with is none of my business. I shouldn't even know
Exactly.
that about you. If I'm in the workspace, I'm there to work.
Exactly.
I don't go around with we know what, we have to come up with our own flag. Let's see, red, white, blue, brown, something, and just go around heterosexual, heterosexual, heterosexual.
Right.
I want for everybody to respect me and give me my rights because I'm heterosexual. That don't even, it sounds asinine, don't it?
Right.
You know,
Right.
no, I don't care, y'all. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't care about you as an individual, as a human being. I'm saying it's none of my business
Right.
as to who you sleep with and what you prefer and everything.
That's just like if you ever been at
That's
a
like that Me Too movement. Oh God.
yeah, if you ever been in public somewhere and you see a man and a woman doing too much PDA, public displays of affection, it gets uncomfortable
It
because it's like,
does.
look, y'all, go get a room. You know what I'm
That's what
saying?
we
Like,
would tell them.
yeah, it's like we're here to watch a movie, eat dinner. You know, of course, a peck here and there. We're not talking about that, but for you to be flamboyantly, and I'm not saying flamboyant and relating it to being gay, but I'm just saying for you to be be so extra,
So
extra,
obvious.
yeah, with your sexuality out in public, that's not cool on any level. So when you try to tell me that I'm supposed to accept this and I gotta treat, cause you wear your hair short. Like if you're a woman, you got a box or some dreads, or you got a specific look, or you dress like a woman, or just like a man, or you buff like a man. Hey, leave that to somebody to wonder about. You you know what I'm saying? You don't have to announce. And you know what? And it's getting to the point where they want to come out to you when they first meet you. You know what I'm saying? They telling you, and it's like, wait a minute, I don't need to know that. We
Right.
work in a warehouse. We
That has
scan boxes.
nothing to do with the work that I'm doing. And this is
Right.
just like whenever this first hit the military, like really wide, and everything, it was the don't ask, don't tell policy. Brother, I was cool with that. Because
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing. Number one, homosexuality has always been here since the beginning of the time. Ain't nothing new about homosexuality. No matter
Mm-hmm.
how many pronouns you put on it, it is about decorum. It is
Mm-hmm.
about class. And in the military, it's about uniform. And the uniform look has a certain look. We have a certain personality. There's a certain persona that we put out.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless as to how you really are, you could really be a wimp.
Mm-hmm.
But when you put on that Marine uniform, everybody in the world think that you are a bad MF.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know that you are probably just as scared as Gomer Powell,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, and can't even see straight. All
Mm-hmm.
they know is that when you put on that uniform, that Marine uniform, oh, this guy's a Marine,
Mm-hmm.
because that's their personality. That is the image that is put out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So whenever they came out with the whole don't ask, don't tell, yes, keep it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to announce that and pronounce that. And then so again, just like with the Me Too movement, here come with true stories, people really being victimized. Okay. But just like everything else, everything gets overly done. And there here come the uh the over exaggerations and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And that's where you get your jussies and stuff like that, coming out. And so now you don't know who to believe because now
Mm-hmm.
everybody's on the bandwagon of jumping on someone's real story.
Mm-hmm.
So in every and that's in everything. That's in every problem that's out there. And
Mm-hmm.
so then it takes away the value of the view. And that's why it took so long, even with our law that had just went through the anti-lynching bill.
Mm-hmm.
Black people always the last on the totem pole. It just passed this April of this year.
And they say they had been
Over
trying to get that.
100 years.
They say they've been trying to get that passed for a long time.
For over 100 years, my brother. ain't no way it shouldn't have took that long.
No, no.
But nevertheless, it's there now. But now that we are in this era, and I say it's in the when I talk about the Trump era, I'm talking about the ideology of Trump, not of Trump the man, because he's gone from celebrity to a twice impeached, twice disgraced president to
45.
now a almost like a mythological creature because
Right.
of the way that people follow him and literally worship him.
Mhm.
The ideal and the ideas that and the people that his base sits upon, his foundation, they're strong. They're not going anywhere.
Oh
People
no.
been thinking this way.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't say it out loud. And this is what my mother and my dad would be trying to teach and tell me as I was coming up. They say, son, nothing has never changed.
Mm-hmm.
They just, and what my parents would say, they just went underground.
Mm.
They went underground because they know that now certain laws and certain people and things were starting to be exposed. And whenever you're doing dirty, you don't want to be exposed. So you go high. But then they kind of got that proverbial permission from 45 whenever he became and that's why he wanted to sit in the presidential seat. A lot of people wanted to say, well, if he wasn't that way with all that money, he didn't have to be the president. Okay, smarty. Who do you think the president really is? By virtue of the title alone, the most powerful man in the world. What better place to be? Money or no money?
Right. The power trip for him.
It's the power. It was
is
never the money.
Yeah, you could. It's just the arrogance. That's what I hate. That's what I hate is that he got everything he wanted. It's like it's like he's untouchable. I mean, really, it's crazy. It's like one big soap opera.
Yeah.
But the discussion that we have leads back to our subject because we're talking about how you're trying to force something onto us with this reversal of this decision. You're gonna and what it's gonna force. You remember before when abortion was illegal. You remember how they used to teach us in school how people always had these back alley abortions with clothes hangers and they're gonna do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? But it's
And
gonna
those are the
cause
have and have nots. Yeah.
it's gonna cause people to do it the wrong way.
Right.
Like you say, if you ask me, like I think Dave Chappelle said one time, hey fellas, you need to sit down, you need to sit back on this one. I shouldn't be making decisions about what a woman should
Take a
do with
seat.
her body. You know what I'm saying? What a woman can. This is not like India or one of those type countries where men are. It just seems sort of barbaric to me. You know what I'm saying?
It is. It is. And we're gonna keep on talking about this. Before I looked up and I just realized that we are coming close to our wrap up time. So what we gonna do right now, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this first part up. I want you to stay on with me because we're gonna do a part 2 like immediately because we're just gonna pick up right where we left off, and that was you just giving your vision as to see where this is ending up. Guys, y'all hang with us. Stand by for part 2. And we will be back very shortly. On here we go. Unmute. Okay. Now we're gonna go into part 2.
Okay.
We're gonna go into part 2. We're gonna try to wrap it up. Boy, we came up on that time quick as heck.
I know, man. That was some good dialogue too. Good
Yeah.
dialogue. We
So
was
I'm gonna have to end it, but I'm gonna jump right back into it because it's still counting me down. So it's gonna cut us off.
so I
I
need to go to another meeting.
yeah, so I'm gonna send you another meeting right away.
Okay.
All right.